Welcome to Headcanon Fodder, a collection of musings, theories, and random stuff about media. This time, creation of the Humanoids. This one's not a theory or a hey, check out this thing video, but kinda a bit of both. Because creation of the Humanoids is kind of a fascinating collection of things that you never expect to see together. It's from 1962, a low-budget sci-fi film. From looking at it, it's the kind of sci-fi that you'd expect to see in Mystery Science Theater. But its concept is strikingly modern, and its themes resonate today. If this film was made by someone like Netflix, it would easily join films like Ex Machina, Annihilation, or Arrival, and with very few changes to the script. But I'll get to that. I'm going to go through the film with a lot of spoilers, because I doubt many of you will want to watch it unspoiled, but if you do, now's your chance to eject. Anyway, the film begins with the end of the world as we know it.
No one can be sure who started it, and really that is unimportant. The atomic war.
The surviving humans create sterile domed cities and a few children. Most of those they do have are horribly mutated by radiation. Humans invent robots to form a new underclass. The robots are abused and kept in bondage but unable to fight back because of Asimov-type behavioral rules. But the robots have their own wishes too: freedom, equality, and to save humanity. So few children are being born that humanity is doomed to a slow extinction unless things change. So the robots begin a plan, improve their own designs themselves incrementally, and their latest step is to use the city's internal cameras to find any important humans who have died, and build a duplicate so advanced that they don't have the Asimov rules. They then implant the replicas with the memories of the original and set them loose, not knowing what they are. But this is only part of the plan. Eventually, they intend to create advanced robots that are so human that they can have children the human way. Then there will be no distinction between robots and humans. They will be one people, all free, all equal, and humanity will survive. And they did survive because, plot twist, this film is set in the ancient past.
How about it, you two? It'll take several simple operations. Hardly more difficult than removing a rib. Of course, the operation was a success, or you wouldn't be here.
Okay, I mean this just really tongue-in-cheek, but, Ronald D. Moore, you fucking hack! Anyway, the plot with the robots getting so advanced that they can have biological children sounds very modern. And it is, but it's also very old. The original appearance of robots in fiction, Rossum's Universal Robots, featured biological robot slaves, robot literally means slave in Slavic, who rebelled against their masters and developed the ability to have children the human way. I'm not saying this is the first use of artificial people, though. That was in a bunch of myths. And I think the first example of an artificial intelligence in fiction dates back to 200 CE, when Lucina Samosata wrote a story that featured intelligent lamps, who were a commentary on slavery. The ancient Greek word for slave literally meant tool that talks. Anyway, why is this so resonant? Because it was directly inspired by the civil rights movement. Segregation ended 3 years after it was filmed, and the robots are an underclass with a different skin color, who seek to integrate with human society as equals, because humanity can only survive if society integrates. It's a fantastic example of modern, for the time, politics being reimagined as science fiction, and it still works today with any number of minorities. The robots' home area is called their temple, they have their own religion, they glitter like queer people, and the film openly discusses the idea of what makes you human, what makes you you, is purely the mind and not the body, which lines it with trans people. There's even a dedicated human anti-robot organization, the Order of Flesh and Blood, which is equal parts the KKK and the more moderate political bigots, targeting a minority that literally cannot harm them back, and wants to wipe them out. Because bigotry never changes.
We don't object to the robots as such. We only hold the humanoids are unnecessary. They're soulless, godless imitations of man. And in that form, they are not needed.
Well, I'd much rather work with a humanoid in the office than have all those little machines chugging about.
If those little machines didn't resemble us, it would never occur to them to try to replace us.
The Order of Flesh and Blood is demanding that all robots be made strictly utilitarian, to have their unique personalities and human-like appearances stripped away, to be literally dehumanized. The robots even have a personalized slur used by humans all the time, clickers, obviously inspired by the N-word.
The clickers, as they were disparagingly referred to by some humans.
What are you clickers doing out tonight?
To throw that clicker out.
All clickers look alike to me.
Certain of us prefer not to be called clickers.
The robots are hypersexualized by some humans. A lady has fallen for a robotic servant, who has no choice but to do everything that she demands.
There are no arguments. He's dedicated to keeping me happy. And I am happy.
You love that machine?
I love Pax.
Regardless of what he wants. He does seem to love her though, and it's basically treated like an interracial relationship that a racist family don't approve of.
Pax, what would you do if something happened to me?
Oh, this covering, this housing might go on and on for centuries. Pax wouldn't.
I'm the head of the family.
And I'm all that's left. Shall we take a vote?
How do you suppose this makes me look?
I hadn't really considered it.
But a robot, Pax, still didn't have an actual choice.
There are no arguments. He's dedicated to keeping me happy.
Which leaves it feeling uncomfortably like a Sally Hemings situation. I mean, he is literally her property.
If he'd been bought by someone else, he'd be in rapport with them.
Honestly, I could spend another 5 minutes just explaining all the serious social commentary about minorities and bigotry that's in this film. And its social commentary is aged better than dozens of far newer and more expensive sci-fi films. Sci-fi films that don't look like an unusually cheap episode of Star Trek the original series. The sets are basic, the direction is very stagey, but I really love the robot design. Blue-grey makeup and metal contact lenses. The actors were blind, and I'm pretty sure in a lot of pain, but it looks really striking. It was designed by Hollywood makeup legend Jack Pierce, who was behind the Universal Monster makeups, but had fallen out of favour in the decades since and was making a living in low-budget cinema. And he wasn't alone in slumming it. The cinematographer, Hal Moore, had 2 Oscars to his name, and he was the only person in history to win one via write-in. The practice was banned shortly afterwards. Anyway, this is a truly fascinating film. If you can get beyond, and I've got to be frank here, if you can get beyond how slow it is, how opposed to excitement it is, the endless scenes of talking, the micro-budget look, and its general stagey theatrical air, if you can see past all that, you can discover a film that, while it's steeped in the politics of its day, is still resonant as fuck today. A film that would easily slot in as a modern, critically acclaimed sci-fi if it was made today and actually had a budget. And beyond all that, I love the dialogue. It's blunt, mostly pretty obviously terrible, but it's authentic sounding mid-20th century hard sci-fi novel dialogue. You don't often get to hear it spoken aloud, and for good reason.
We fall in love when we see a part of ourselves reflected in another person. In the rapport operation, a part of me became Pax. I won't discuss this any further.
According to history, each dynasty devises its own end. The animal develops a brain, and the brain destroys the animal.
Our brains conceived you robots. Are you threatening to destroy us? Well, if they duplicated this Kelly, do you suppose they killed him?
No. I think I can speak positive on that point. The robot denied it when wired for absolute truth. They found him dead.
Well, if the man was dead, how would he have a memory?
Memory consists of facts. Facts can't be destroyed, they can only cease to be used.
I'm not.
Then you can't be soulless. Look, a man may have his leg amputated. Is his soul decreased by that loss?
No.
Not even a fraction of 1%?
Of course not. Well, a transplant must include the soul.
No, only the memory which includes the faith that there is a soul. Whatever it is, you seem to have it. You came to my laboratory last night, I'm told.
You're lying. Dr. Raven was an old man, and he was dead.
I didn't like being old and dead.
And while most of the performances aren't great, the guys playing the robots are mostly fantastic. A mixture of stillness and restrained personality, like Proto-Datas from Star Trek The Next Generation.
You will learn how to laugh, how to cry, be afraid and hate. To become an R-96 is a real sacrifice.
A man
capable of jealousy, hatred, deceit, murder. Most interesting.
What is?
Why men, having such negative qualities, feel so superior to us.
What is it, dear? Darling, you're leaving me out of something.
I'm sorry. It's the sense of humor. It's a lot more difficult to control than pain.
Why are you laughing, Pax?
For the reason everyone laughs.
I'm no clicker, R96, anything. I hate robots. I'm a leader in the Order of Flesh and Blood.
And the only robot who can claim that distinction.
Anyway, I said that this would only need some rewriting, and, well, here's one of the bits that would have to be changed.
One of our robots brought what was left of you to us. We barely got you in time. We did make you a bit thinner. You had a tendency to be plump.
That's right. After that, my clothes didn't fit.
That was so terrible, I think you gave me cancer.
Give the film a go if you want, let me know what you think. There's a copy on YouTube, it's less than 90 minutes long, and it's well worth the watch. Anyway, see you next time for some more Headcanon fodder. Oh, and fun fact, this was allegedly Andy Warhol's favourite film, which makes so much sense, it's amazing.